is the fact that you're told that you don't do this. As you've said that as a man, you shouldn't actually disobey your father, you shouldn't disobey your teacher, things like that. So in a way of mine, I would say to you in terms of within reading this code, how do you actually see yourself? Actually, with my understanding, also you actually had your own troubles when you grew up in terms of when it comes to mental health. So within that, how did you navigate that in terms of knowing that no, now it's time to go get some help because as men we don't go to them?
It's a great question. So a big part of if anyone here, is interested, you're free to go help yourself to my own podcast, the Get In Fellas, We're Going to Therapy podcast. It's a light play on the serious issue that is therapy and getting the help you need. So my story is interesting. Seiko, I grew up, I did fine. I was smart. I was in clubs. I had friends. I had girlfriends. But one of my friends framed it best for me when I was like 17, who was like, I can't tell if you're the most confident person on earth or you're the most insecure person on earth, which is a weird vibe to put out as a 17-year-old. And I'd say that's probably just the best way you could have described me, was like, I didn't even know there was a problem. And if you'd asked my college girlfriend or, that kind of thing, they'd have been like, oh yeah, that boy is not in touch with his emotions, right? It was not fostered in my household. My parents were great, did the absolute best they could, and they didn't come from environments where anybody talked about feelings. So this is just what's normal, honestly, Aseko, in most American households, and I would imagine South African as well, we just don't talk about these feelings. Okay, we're just not going to talk about it. If something bad happens, we're not going to talk about it. And if one of us gets mad at each other, we're just going to forgive each other and then move on. We're not going to learn from it. We're not going to grow from it. So I was, when I went to medical school, I wanted to be a pediatrician. And so like amoxicillin, vaccination, stuff like that. But I'd been an elementary school teacher before that. And so I saw the depths to which family interactions and family dynamics are important. So when I was in medical school, I changed over to psychiatry because I really wanted the depth that I had with relationships with kids and families when I was a teacher. And psychiatry allows you to have that kind of depth within a family system to really understand what's going on for the parents, what's going on for the kids, and what's going on between them, right? So that was really what drew me to it. Now, I got into my psychiatry training. So I'm now a doctor training, a residency training of 5 years that I'm in my first or second year, and people are bringing it to my attention. Like, dude, you're not like I was good at caring about people, but I was so not good with my own emotions that I wasn't a very good therapist. And so you need, as a therapist, Aseko, as you could imagine, like, I need to have my own bullshit under control so that I'm not taking my bullshit out on someone else. I need to understand why this person is making me angry. I need to understand why I don't like this patient of mine. I don't like them, right? It's just like they're rubbing me the wrong, like, what's up with that? I need to have all that stuff in my mind. I need to understand it, or else I'm not going to be very good at my job. I'm not going to be able to be present with my patients. So my actual launch into therapy came kind of because a lot of my friends who were also training to become psychiatrists or doctors who are therapists were doing the same thing and were like, dude, you only have anger. Like, you're not going to be that good at this job if you don't start working on this stuff yourself. That was compounded, Aseko, by a romantic relationship that I missed. We were going to move in together and I freaked out. And then I told myself, well, if you're anxious about moving in together, that must mean it's not right. Which is fucking nonsense when really all that means is, yeah, I was nervous about moving in with a girl. Like, duh. And so I misread that signal. And so then during that year of training is when we really started doing more therapy and understanding people better during that year. And I just had this moment of like, holy shit, man, like you are bad at this, which is fun. It's just like a weird moment because a lot of people go their whole lives and they don't realize that they're not good. But I don't truly know if I hadn't ended up choosing psychiatry as a specialty, I don't know that I'd see things any differently than I do right now, which was I grew up very nice, very thoughtful. I cared for other people and I treated them well. I had no idea why people did what they do. I held a lot of grudges. Things were very black and white for me. You either were good or you were bad, and there was not much of an in between. And my world has been reshaped by how to understand people. I like to joke that I can't hold a grudge anymore because I can explain exactly why somebody did the thing that made me mad instantly. I just don't get mad at anybody anymore because I understand what's going on. Now, you still, especially the people that you've been in your life the longest, they still have a way of pulling on you, But if I meet a patient, I don't know, that patient could call me a blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, well, their mom hurt them and here we are, so like, I just don't get like fazed by stuff like that anymore, but it's been a lot of hard work. So like, that's a long way of saying like what brought to my attention that I needed the help. I mean, because it was my job, I needed it. I had friends calling me out on it. I dive bombed an amazing romantic relationship that I've regretted, ever since. Not as much as I used to, but I still hold that in my moment of like, hold that moment in my heart of like, you got to be under better control of your own bullshit like this. If you're going to be a good husband, father, therapist, friend, then you have to have better control of this. And I'll tell you what, as I go, it's been every week I go to therapy for at least the last 5 or 6 years. I've read every book. You can see a bunch of books behind me, like every book a therapist or psychiatrist needs to read. I've read all the papers, all the old papers by this person and this person. So like, I do not see the world the same way that I saw it 8 years ago. And I'm never looking back. Because when you start seeing the world how I think you likely see it too, which is people are a product of their environment, and we all have these things that happen that build on top of our genetics, right? That developmental standpoint. I didn't have any of that until now. And so now it's like, I just want to share that with everybody. That's the point of my podcast, and my mission now is, I don't know if you saw the tagline, but my podcast tagline is frat boy turned shrink. So frat boy is an American term, fraternity boy, on a mission to introduce the world to a kinder, gentler bro. So like, it's a playful tongue in cheek on teaching men how to be less aggressive, how to be less angry, how to be more empathetic, how to understand things better. And so that is what I truly felt like my journey was. Took me a while to realize that's what I was doing, because Seiko, you can be nice, but it's not kindness unless you're like present in the moment with the person and you're really understanding their point of view, which I did not until, I don't know, a year or two into my own therapy. I don't know. You ask any of my friends, I'll call them all up. They'll be like, you kind of sucked until, whatever. But now, but honestly, now it's just such a true pleasure, because you feel lighter. I don't worry about what people think as much as I used to. I don't question my own judgment like I used to. And it's just quite nice. It's quite nice. And I would like it to be like that for everybody. And I think most people with hard work can come out the other side just like I did.
And to what you've said in terms of not in touch with your feelings, and I feel like I also myself at some point I wasn't like that. The reason why I believe that the reason why I wasn't like that is the fact that to the people that I looked up to, because people that I go are in front of actually didn't actually express themselves how they felt. And I just want to again touch on putting yourself first. And it's something that we most of the time forget to do, because we are taught that to actually put it goes to a conversation that I had today. I think it was 3 hours, 4 hours ago, whereas we spoke about I was speaking with a guest, Dr. Wilson, where she helps women in terms of navigating parenthood. Because when you are a parent, definitely you don't take care of yourself. You take care of other people's needs and forget to take care of yourself. Same goes with, I feel like the conversation intertwines. And I just want to get deeper on what you said in terms of learning people. And I think one of the things that we actually have in common is the fact that we're interested in human behavior, whereas actually finding out the reason why that person does that. And I was like that, and I didn't get the point. If you did something wrong to me, I will actually say I will hold that grudge. But now I will actually, when you have grown enough, not only physical but also mentally, and the way you perceive people will start hating on you and say that if they say something that is terrible towards you, you say, okay, it's fine. That's you, and I forgive you. And whereas you're being, I would say that one would actually define as being a bigger person, because it's a word that you usually use here in South Africa. But yeah, here in South, most of the time, being a bigger person, because you don't want, at some point, one would say that you are avoiding conflict, but you are not avoiding conflict. You are going toe-to-toe with conflict in a way of saying that, now I agree, I understand you said what you said, but I won't acknowledge that. And it's a line that was said by Alex Hamosi. I forgot the line, but it goes with, in terms of actually listening to people, what people say about you, in a way of it's your opinion. I don't care. Say what you want to say. That's all. And I just want to get deeper on therapy. And as you've said that you've been going to therapy for 5 to 6 years, and therapy has a bad rap in terms of when it comes to men especially. The reason why I would say I'm against therapy, I would say that I perceive it in a different way, is the fact that, to me, I don't know why I have this perception, but I have this perception that if you don't understand where I come from, if you don't understand how I actually feel, why would I go to you to actually listen to my problems? That's how I perceive it. And it's something that actually, the thing that I heard it from Tarish B. Hansen. She has an organization that is focused on helping Black people when it comes to therapy. Black people, we are not in a way of being in line with therapy, and we are not familiar with it. And
I'm interested, Aseko, of you saying that you like understanding human behavior. How else do we learn about ourselves and our tendencies if not in therapy? And now you might have good, supportive family and friends who can help you do that. Now, Aseko, the difference is everyone in your life is going to have their own bias. Bias meaning like their own opinion to give you. If you bring up a problem to them, your father, your mother, your best friend, they're going to layer their own bullshit on top of whatever you're bringing to them. Well, how I did it, son, or what what our religion, our God says. Like everything is going to have some layer on it. What a therapist's job to do is to not care about anything except understanding your problem. Now, you're right, Aseko, if you feel like your culture was specific and that in the United States, we might not have people who understand you. So, the aspects. Aseko, one of my favorite patients is from Ghana, and her and I talk all the time about like, well, this would be different than your experience, and this, and I seek to understand, and she's working in New York City, and so she like needs some help on the understanding and vice versa. I need to understand her culture. She needs to understand my culture. So like I have had refugee patients from Central America, Asia, like the Middle East. I mean, I don't understand their worlds, but my job is to be there to help them